Hello and welcome to the show. Now, the property market does vary depending on where you are in the country.
That's right, so you really have to know the area you're looking at as well as the property.
Yes, but before all that, why not pop down to your local property auction? You might find what you're looking for.
Property developing can seem like a walk in the park if it all goes to plan and you make a healthy profit.
Yes, but you could also find yourself stuck in the mud with nothing to show for your hard work.
So how did today's buyers fare? Let's find out.
I put my superpowers to good use in Chesterton.
My spider senses were right. This is a big chunk of concrete.
Martel warns tea drinkers in Leeds.
And if you're downstairs having a cup of tea and want to go and use the loo, you've got some steep stairs to contend with.
And Dion takes a walk down memory lane in Sheldon.
I'm pretty sure I had these units when I lived in Leicester back in the day.
All these properties have been sold at auction, and we'll find out who bought them and what they paid for them when they went under the hammer.
3 and gone.
I'm in Chesterton, a small former mining village in Staffordshire, situated in the borough of Newcastle-under-Lyme.
So I'm here in this popular residential area to see a kind of property that's becoming as rare as hen's teeth. Bungalows, believe it or not. They don't build them anymore. So, if you want to buy one, maybe head to the auction. £60,000 was the guide price. Let's have a look. Now, let me just qualify exactly what I've just said. When I say non-being built, I know there's going to be somebody phoning in saying, oh, I've got one being built up the street. In general, bungalows are not being built these days, partly because developers look at the amount of land that they've got and they think, well, what could I do to maximise the amount of space there? And often that means building up, it means putting in terraced houses or whatever. And that's a real shame, because for a lot of people, a bungalow is an absolute ideal place to live. I was brought up in a bungalow. For a lot of people, possibly with mobility issues, they are absolutely ideal. But I know lots and lots of people across the board who just love one single floor living. So there you go, they are in demand because you can't get them that often. So what have we got in this particular one? Well, through the front door, this little corridor, extremely large cupboard. And in here, oh my goodness, an even bigger large cupboard. What's that all about? But we've got 2 bedrooms, both pretty good sizes. One there at the front of the property and another one there. A walk-in shower stroke toilet there.
The living room is a good-sized space. And if you were to get rid of the cupboards in the hallway, you could free up even more space for the living room. Now, moving on to the kitchen.
Through to the kitchen then, and it's not in bad condition actually, but I'm thinking about something a bit more radical, because in any slightly smaller property, what you want to do, as you've heard me say before, is try and make a room or a number of rooms as big as possible, and then the whole house feels bigger than it actually is. So in this case, an obvious thing to do is a stud partition wall, as in it's not a supporting wall. I can tell that because it sounds a bit hollow. I mean, if you're not sure, you definitely want to have it checked out by a builder or a surveyor. But if you got rid of that wall, then suddenly you could create a really amazing kitchen stroke living area, maybe with a breakfast bar, maybe with an island unit. All in all, lots and lots of things you could do here to improve what is, you know, basically a great little bungalow.
With a little imagination, this bungalow could be transformed into something very special. But what potential does outside hold?
So out of the side door through the kitchen and to the rear of the property. And of course, it's a detached bungalow, which gives you potential for all sorts of things. The garden is a pretty decent size. How about putting on some kind of conservatory into the back garden? I think that would be a really nice thing to do. So, look, I mean, it's a pretty decent bungalow. £60,000 sounds like a pretty decent guide price. There's just something that's niggling me about it. I can't quite put my finger on it.
There is more to this bungalow than meets the eye. If I go down the side of the house, it becomes a little clearer.
So, this pebble dash is a bit interesting. Right. That's what I was looking for. The proof that my spider senses were right. This is a big chunk of concrete, and you can see it's got these metal studs or bolts in it. This is a non-standard construction property, as in concrete, slabs. There's lots of different varieties of non-standard construction, and they're solid enough, and they will probably definitely outlive, you know, lots of other houses. However, certain types of non-standard construction make a property unmortgageable. It could be a real issue. So that is probably the reason why that guide price is lower than you might otherwise expect. But it doesn't mean this isn't a good property to buy. As long as you know about it, it's not an issue.
As we are always going on about on the show, it's all about doing your research. There are specialist lenders out there who do give mortgages on certain non-standard construction properties, but this is probably more likely to appeal to a cash buyer. To find out more about this place, we've asked along a property expert from the auction house that sold it to hear his thoughts.
Bungalows such as this one, there's always very high demand for them. There's not very many within the local area other than this particular street. Property here isn't in too bad condition compared to some others that we see. It does appear that for the most part it's quite a cosmetic refurbishment which is needed in terms of new kitchen, new bathroom, redecoration throughout and new floor coverings. I'd also recommend to just check out the electrics, make sure those are all in good working order, and the same with the heating as well.
The agent confirmed that it might be difficult to get a mortgage on the property due to it being of non-standard construction, although one advantage of this is that all the internal walls are non-load bearing, meaning it will be easy to reconfigure the layout. So, upon completion, what could the returns be?
On the rental market, once renovated, you'd probably be looking to achieve somewhere in the region of £525 to £550 per calendar month.
And how about on the sales market?
On the sales market, I would anticipate that after refurbishment, this property would achieve in the region of £90,000.
So, a nice enough little bungalow, but that non-standard construction does throw up a bit of an issue, and it probably limits this to a cash purchaser. And let's just hope they knew about it before they bought it. Let's go to the auction and see who the purchaser was.
This lot was up for auction, but a deal was struck just prior to the auction taking place.
You bought it, well done, thank you.
The successful offer of £70,000 was made by Brenda, a retired classroom assistant who has no experience with a project like this, but is ready to take on the challenge. Let's find out her plans.
Brenda, lovely to meet you.
Hi.
Congratulations. Tell me why you wanted to buy this property.
I wanted to downsize from my two-bedroom terraced house that I wasn't using all the rooms. And because it's detached and it seemed ideal and at a good price.
Definitely. Do you know the area?
Yes, I grew up not too far away, about 2 or 3 miles away, and I lived for 33 years when I first had my own property, which was about 2 miles away.
Right. So this is very much going to be your home?
That's right, yes, it will be.
Great. So what was it about it that you liked?
Oh, detached.
Right.
So when I get up at 3 in the morning because I can't sleep, I can sing and play my guitar, but I do both very badly.
So apart from the fact that you can strum a guitar whenever you want, anything else that you particularly like?
Well, I'm going to try and make it into an apartment-style bungalow, so that I just live in one room and have one large bedroom. So it'll all be a lot easier to maintain, so it will future-proof it as I get older, hopefully.
Right. Talk me through those plans. What are you going to do?
Well, as you come into the door, there's a huge cupboard that takes up a good third of the room, so that'll be knocked down. And the kitchen will be all knocked down, and the shower room, or the wet room, will be put into the second bedroom, but will be enclosed. So we'll have a small L-shaped type bedroom. And I have an enclosed bathroom, so if anyone comes to stay, then they've got some privacy. But I will have onto the back side of the house a utility room that will have a separate entrance. So predominantly we'll use that entrance, but there will still be a front door for when people come in.
So there's an extension at the back?
On the side, yes.
Oh, okay.
That will have the washing machine and tumble dryer and a small little toilet in there.
Okay. And that's on one of the sides of the house?
That's right, yes.
Oh, wow, okay. And the current bathroom will be turned into part
of the kitchen.
Oh, wow. So you're taking out... I mean, I love taking out walls, but you are going... you're going even more crazy than I normally do.
Yes, yeah. And then just keep it as minimalist and... a little bit quirky, because I also do Reiki and meditation.
Oh, wow.
So...
tell me more about that.
Reiki, which is spiritual healing, which you ask the universe to transfer energy from them through you to someone who wants to be healed, or for self-healing. And it sounds really mad, but it works for me, so I go along with it.
Yeah.
And she doesn't see the non-standard construction being any sort of an issue, as it will not hinder her reconfiguration plans one bit. She will bring in tradesmen to carry out the work and hopes her budget of £20,000 to £30,000 and timescale of 6 months will result in the project going swimmingly.
And what about the interior design? How's it going to be? How are you going to paint it? What kind of colours? What's the feel going to be?
White, beige and pink.
Pink?
Yes, and we'd hopefully have a pink front door.
Really?
Yes.
Excellent. Well, that sounds wonderful. Well, look, we wish you all the very best in your new home. Good luck with it, and we look forward to seeing how you get on.
Thank you, Martin. Lovely meeting you.
You too. Well, how great that Brenda's found her perfect place to live, where she can play the guitar at any time of the day to her heart's content. And, thankfully, that non-standard construction is not an issue. How will she get on sorting it out? You can find out later in the show.
To Leeds now, a vibrant city that has been labelled by some as the unofficial capital of Yorkshire. It also lays claim to the invention of the first fizzy drink in 1767, when chemist Joseph Priestley discovered a method of infusing water with carbon dioxide. So will the auction property Martel is here to see fizz or fall flat?
I'm around a mile from the centre of Leeds in an area called Hare Hills, which has loads of its own amenities as well as good bus routes into the city centre. Here's our property. It's a two-bed mid-terrace, which came with a guide price of £60,000. Actually, it's called a back-to-back terrace, which means that it's attached to the properties on either side, but also one to the rear. Let's go look. Ooh, well, into a great-sized reception room. It feels solid, it looks in pretty good condition, maybe a relatively new paint job here. And then you have a very small kitchen, very outdated, needs to come out. Has a solid wall, so you'd leave that is probably otherwise too much work. It started off well with a big room, but that is all you have on this floor, this reception and a teeny tiny kitchen. However, I do know this is a terrace with 3 floors plus a basement. The basement is down here. Let's go look. Oh, well, down into the basement, which is always a little bit exciting. The good news is that you have quite a lot of room down here, and it wouldn't be uncommon to convert the basement in this area. It would give you more living space, and it could really up that rental yield or help to add value to the property. That said, you have to save some pennies to do it because everything needs done. You need a ceiling, you need a damp-proof course, you need to insulate the place, you need plaster. So bear that in mind. Watch your budget.
Converting the cellar into a usable living space would certainly add a fair amount to any renovation budget. But in such a small house with limited options to create more room, it's definitely worth considering. Just off the living room are some rather steep-looking stairs that take you to the first floor.
Onto a landing, and off this landing you have a bathroom, which is a good size for quite a small property. It really is. I'd be spending some budget to get a new bathroom and kitchen. The bathroom and kitchen, when they're shiny and new, it just makes all the difference for upping the value and the feel of a property. Now, this bedroom is a terrific size. If this was your bedroom and you have the bathroom next door, great. But then again, if you're downstairs having a cup of tea and want to go and use the loo, you've got some steep stairs to contend with. Here's a door. I'm guessing that's the top floor up there. Let's have a look. Up some more steep winding stairs. It really feels like you're coming into the roof space, and indeed you are. Oh, well, this is quite a clever use of the roof space because that dormer window gives you plenty of head height. It's quite unusual to have one bedroom on top of another, but we're in this back-to-back terraced home, so you have a property either side, but also one attached to the rear. That means you don't have a back garden, just your small area outside. It's quirky, there's a lot of stairs, but if you're okay with that, I kind of like it.
Another thing worth noting is that this property is in a selective licensing area, which requires extra permission from the council if you want to let it out. We asked along an expert from the auction house to get his thoughts and valuations on this back-to-back terrace.
So, yeah, the terrace, as it stands today, looks absolutely fine. There isn't a huge amount to do. Obviously, if you were going to get it rented at some point in the future, you're going to need your electric safety certificate, your gas certificate. I think I actually spotted one of those on the worktop. There is plenty of space in the basement, which is great. However, the ceiling heights are a bit lower than I would ideally like. And what we see with a lot of properties in Hare Hills is that they've actually got their own separate access going into, it's almost like a lower ground floor rather than a basement, with a window and everything like that. In this particular property, that isn't here.
After renovations, what does the expert think the property could be worth on the sales and rental market?
If the property was refurbished and put on the rental market, I would expect to achieve figures between £525 and £575 per calendar month. If it was then put on the market to be sold, I'd expect figures between £105,000 and £115,000.
This back-to-back terrace offers up a nice wee slice of Leeds history. You've got 3 floors just now which are in good condition, and you've also got the option to convert the basement. Loads of potential. Let's find out who agreed when it went to auction.
This property was sold as part of a remote auction with online bids only.
So, thank you.
It was bought for £96,000 by Wally, an IT consultant and part-time property developer. This is his 4th property project, and Martel caught up with him to find out more.
Wally, pleased to meet you.
Pleased to meet you, Martel.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
You've got yourself quite an unusual property here, a back-to-back terraced home. Is it to renovate? Is it to rent out? What's this for?
It will be to rent out. So there's a couple of things we're looking to do with it.
Yeah.
So whether we rent out to a nice family or we do it as a serviced accommodation, kind of like a shop there, because it's close enough to hospitals and city centre, so it's nice for people to come and stay when they're about.
Oh, it's a great location in terms of it's a mile from the city centre.
Yeah.
You've got so many rental opportunities. This is your 4th property.
Yeah.
So where have the others been?
They're all been in Leeds and surrounding areas, so I've not really ventured far from here. So it's an area that I know very well, so I know the market and how it works, so I just kind of stick to what I know for now, really. So.
When you saw this property, did you come to see it? Did you read the legal pack?
Read the legal pack, came in, I just kind of set myself a budget and say, right, don't really go over that, but yeah.
But you did?
Top budget was 90.
Okay.
Wasn't going to go over, but I think there was someone else that's kind of, it's a bit like a bidding war. I didn't want to get too emotional, so I just thought, if it was going to go over that 96, I probably would have just not go for it.
Yeah.
But I was like, it was too good to say no, there's little work to be done here, so.
Yeah. What was it about this property in this area that you thought, yes, it's worth that?
As soon as I saw the ground price at first, I was like, okay, what's going on? Is it really bad? Is it terrible? And I came in for a review and I was like, actually, it's not that bad. If we could get it around about, a decent price, then it would make a good, return on investment.
Yeah, I mean, each of the floors is quite small, but then you have 4 floors.
Yes.
3 in pretty good condition.
Yeah.
So this being back-to-back, have you come across that before? A back-to-back property where you've got one property either side and one at the back?
Yeah, it's actually quite popular in this part of Leeds. Most of the houses around here are all back-to-back. So I've seen a few before like that. But like I say, there's a lot of room. Like, as you can see, there's a lot of room for it. So, yeah, I've come across it. It wasn't much of a surprise for me.
Let's start at the bottom and work our way up.
Yeah.
Do you have plans for the basement?
Yes and no, depending on how much it's going to cost. So I've seen a few properties around this street, surrounding area, what they've done, they've actually moved the kitchen from where it is, because it's quite small, the kitchen. So they've moved it downstairs into the basement and make it kind of like a large kitchen diner down there. But I'm not sure I'm going to do that, because I think it's just a bit too expensive to do that. There's going to be a lot of work to be done. So I think I'm just going to keep it as it is for now. And then, so I'll leave the basement as it is and just renovate the kitchen.
It would come at a cost, because a lot needs done. You would need to damp-proof the place and insulate and plaster, put a ceiling on.
Yes.
So if you have an eye on budget, maybe not the thing now.
Yeah.
So talk me through what you are going to do. Let's start on this floor as you come in.
Yeah, so you come into the living area. So it's just, to be fair, change the carpet, liquor paint, and that's it. That's done. And then you go up to the first floor, which has got one room and a bathroom. Again, bathroom in this new bathroom is really dated. Okay, brand new bathroom in there. The room in there just, again, liquor paint, flooring's in good condition as well. It's just a general tidy up after that.
It is a really small kitchen, so how are you going to be kind of clever with getting things in there?
Again, it's not uncommon in this area. Literally all the kitchens are just like that in this area. So I think a lot of the fittings are already there, which is kind of decent, but I just have to be clever about what we do with this space and how we kind of put some shelves and stuff around there to make it better, yeah.
What's your budget here?
I think 5K tops,
Yeah.
really, would be. Be a bit contingency, but...
A wee bit of contingency just in case there's a tile missing from the roof or something like that?
Yeah, I hope not though, but yeah.
How long is this going to take?
6 weeks. I think 6 weeks, maybe 2 months, but like I said, there's not a lot to be done. We get a team in. I've got like a steady team of people that I use, so we'll come in, have a look at the kitchen. It's not a big bathroom as well, so I think 6 weeks tops we should be able to get it around, yeah.
Now, this is within a selective licensing area when it comes to rental. Have you looked into that, and can you explain a bit about it?
Yeah, as a landlord, you've got to get, extra, you've got to get permission really from the council to rent it out. So yes, I've looked into that. There's a certain fee you've got to pay for that. But then if you're doing serviced accommodation, because you're not renting out on a long term or a short let, then you don't need that selective licensing if you're doing as a serviced accommodation. But if you're renting out to a family, renting out on a long term, then you do need that. So I've looked into that as well, and it's factored into the plan.
Very best of luck, Wally. I'm looking forward to finding out what you do and if you do it within that 6-week timescale.
Thank you very much. I hope I do.
It sounds like Wally's going to take the cheaper and quicker option at this stage of not converting the basement here. This is his 4th development, so he knows what he's doing. But that budget of £5,000 and timescale of just 6 weeks is still pretty ambitious. Will he do it? You can find out later in the show.
Coming up, a house in Sheldon gives Dion chills.
It actually feels colder in here than it does outside.
While in Leeds, Wally's carved out quite a nice little role for himself.
I kind of project managing it without actually doing much, really.
It's time to head back to the village of Chesterton in Newcastle-under-Lyme, to this bungalow on generous grounds which had a guide price of £60,000, and I was up to my old tricks.
In any slightly smaller property, what you want to do, as you've heard me say before, is try and make a room or a number of rooms as big as possible, and then the whole house feels bigger than it actually is. So in this case, an obvious thing to do is that if you got rid of that wall, then suddenly you could create a really amazing kitchen stroke living area. And by doing that, you would absolutely transform this property, actually.
And I wasn't far wrong, as Brenda, who snapped the property up for £70,000, not only agreed, but wanted to knock down more than one wall.
Well, I'm going to try and make it into an apartment-style bungalow, so that I just live in one room and have one large bedroom. So it'll all be a lot easier to maintain, so it will future-proof it as I get older.
Brenda had a budget of 20 to 30,000 and a timescale of 6 months. So has she been successful in creating her forever home? We're back 1 year and 6 months later to find out. Well, there's no pink front door in sight, but Brenda has created a parking space to the front at one side and a garden to the other. Inside, she's managed to create the apartment-style layout she was after. With the living room now being part of the open-plan kitchen dining area, where there were 2 bedrooms, she's transformed the space into a single bedroom with ensuite. Brenda may not have got her desired pink front door, but she's made up for it at the back with a new pink summer house. She's had new fencing put up and created a raised decking area coming out from the kitchen, which looks amazing. She had originally planned to build a small extension for a utility and WC. So why didn't she go ahead with that?
Decided against the extension because of the sloping in the house, in the land. I would have had to have raised it, which would have been considerable expense, or leave it with a step going down. And from that, we would have lost the purpose of it being a bungalow all on one level. So my friend who did the designing included a utility room with a guest toilet separate from the kitchen and the open plan, insulated it with soundproofing so that cuts down any noise from the white goods.
Everything looks great, but one of the big changes is not something that's obvious to the naked eye.
Most of the work that has taken place is the insulation. All the old insulation had started to break down, and it was polystyrene. So we ripped everything out, put rock wall in, plasterboard, and then overboarded it again with insulation. And it was all rewired, and a new boiler put in as also.
Both Brenda's budget and timescale were badly affected by repeated issues with tradespeople. Unexpectedly, she also had to live in the property on and off during the renovations, which wasn't easy.
With all the downside, I did have some really good friends who cooked meals for me, allowed me to go there for showers. And after 3-4 months, I was totally exhausted with it all because I'm having to make decisions myself about trades and where to get them in and various things. So I went back to Scotland for a month while all the plastering work was done. And then my really good friend Paul came in, who's been doing lots of the jobs for me, and cleaned it all up and painted it ready for me to come back. So Although there's been some really downs, there's been some ups and some funny sides.
Well, after an eventful year, it's nice to see Brenda still smiling. In the end, she spent a total of £40,000, which is £10,000 over her original budget. That extra spend on insulation was one of the main reasons for going over, but the end result is fantastic. With regards to her timescale, the work didn't start for 3 months, but how long did it take once begun?
I would say 4 to 5 months to get it livable. So it was probably a little bit longer than that. The kitchen needed to be fitted and the flooring before I could move my furniture back in. So it did go on for a little while.
Although it wasn't completely finished in 4 to 5 months, enough was done for Brenda to move in, and she's been living here for the past year while getting everything finished off. I think it's safe to say she's created a perfect little forever home for herself. I wonder what the expert who viewed the property previously thinks of this newly renovated bungalow.
So this is the second time that I've been to the property, and quite bluntly, what a transformation. It's completely different in terms of the layout. It's really nice to see the use of the space, and the overall finish, to my eye, looks absolutely fantastic.
The agent thinks the fact the property has been turned from a 2-bed into a 1-bed could narrow down the potential buyers. But with such a great transformation, he doesn't think it would necessarily have a negative impact on the value. Speaking of which, what could the potential returns be?
As a 1-bedroom property, I would expect on the sales market to achieve somewhere in the region of £100,000, and on the rental market, £575 per calendar month.
Oh, no, I think it's grossly under. One next door that's pretty similar was valued 4 years ago at 120, and it is a desirable area to live.
So Brenda feels a value upwards of £120,000 is more realistic, and if she were to achieve that on the sales market, it would give her a pre-tax profit above £10,000. But that was never the real purpose of this renovation, as it was always intended to be her long-term home, and what a wonderful job she's made of it. So how would she sum up the experience?
Oh, it absolutely well worth it. If anything, it's made me feel years younger, and I've certainly had an adventure and enjoyed the adventure.
To Sheldon now, an area east of Birmingham. And along with good road and rail networks, there's another mode of transport right on the doorstep.
So we're not too far away from Birmingham International Airport. There are a few amenities dotted about this residential area. The property I'm here to see is this. Off-street parking, that's a good start, isn't it? Semi-detached, 2-bed property, had a guide price of £40,000 plus when it went to auction. It's got nice curb appeal. Is the inside the same? Let's have a look.
So we're off to a flying start, but will it continue inside?
OK. It actually feels colder in here than it does outside. Right, there's been some work started here. What I mean by that, the wallpaper's been taken off. And there's a reason for that, because I can see there's some water damage on the ceiling already. So we've got a problem. As soon as you walk in the door, I'm guessing the bathroom's above here somewhere. Have a look at that as well. Look at this light. Some of the water's obviously found its way into here and left its mark. So, yes, something to investigate above us here. Hallway's a nice size, though. I do like the size of the hallway. Various stairs going up to the bedrooms, bit of a dogleg round the corner. And then you come into this really nice, large lounge, but my eye is drawn to the flooring here where it's kind of bowed a little bit. I'm guessing one of the joists has moved and it's kind of bouncy where that joist may have just dropped a little bit. It would have been 2 rooms back in the day, but to make it one big room is so much better. The amount of light coming through that huge bay window is absolutely Beautiful. I like it. What I want to do is I want to get this floor nice and flat, tidy it up a little bit, get it decorated, get some carpet down, and you'd be done. In here. What about out here? Let's have a look. So we're through into the kitchen area, which is very sort of 70s, 80s. I'm pretty sure I had these units when I lived in Leicester back in the day. So I know they're 70s, 80s. The tiles, everything's a bit dated here, but a brand new kitchen in here would really brighten it up. That said, you have got this kind of sunroom conservatory area as well. So I'm thinking, get rid of this. Get rid of the whole of this wall and this window and get these 2 rooms into one. One big kitchen dining space would be absolutely perfect. Double doors off the dining area as well into that potentially lovely back garden. But there's a lot of work to be done before you enjoy the back garden. Okay, upstairs we've got 2 bedrooms, bathroom, and you've got a little cupboard here where the boiler is. Now I can see straight away that there's some stainage, some water stainage down there. There's your bathroom. Below the bathroom and this little cupboard space here is the hallway where we first came in and there was a bit of water damage on the ceiling. It's coming from somewhere around here. There's a leak somewhere. Get that sorted out before you do anything else. It will save you money in the long run. 2 bedrooms look really good sizes, by the way. Double beds can fit in both of these rooms. Bathroom is dated. The whole of the house just needs a bit of a freshen up. So yes, upstairs is as good as downstairs.
That's great, but what's on offer outside?
Right then, back garden. And it is a good-sized back garden. You've got to come down a couple of stairs to get to its level. It's completely overgrown. There's loads of space to play with. You've got this sort of trellis area here. You've got greenhouse, you've got shed, another outbuilding right here. And you've got these big double doors here, and that's because there is access to the back of this back garden from this road here. Off the main road, you've got this road here, so if you do want to park your car in your back garden, open the double doors, get it in there, nice and safe, close the back doors. What more can I do for you? I'll give you parking at the front, parking at the back. Can't do any more.
I'll give you everything, all that one could ever give. I'll give everything.
But what does an agent from the auction house that sold the property make of it?
I think, at first glance, the property is structurally sound. The downstairs reception room has already been opened up and it looks like they've taken out the old kitchen and added the extension, which is now the existing kitchen. But then there is a possibility of going out further and converting the existing sun lounge into a bigger kitchen, dining, living space, which would make a really good use of the ground floor area.
This house was guided at a come-and-get-me guide price of just £40,000 plus. But what might it be worth if it were fully refurbished?
If the property remains in its existing layout and is refurbished to a good standard, I would imagine it would achieve somewhere in the region of £225,000 to £230,000. I think if the property was extended to make a larger family kitchen, dining, living space, it would possibly push the price up to somewhere in the region of £235,000 to £240,000.
And potential rental returns?
Once renovated in its existing layout, I would imagine it would achieve a rental figure of somewhere in the region of £900 per calendar month. If the additional family space was created, it would appeal to families rather than perhaps a young couple, and it may push the rental up to somewhere in the region of £950 to £1,000 per calendar month.
This is a solidly built house. For me, I'd try and get that kitchen and sunroom integrated into one big kitchen diner. That would work perfectly. You've got off-street parking, you've got a big back garden, and don't forget that guide price of £40,000 plus. Get it for anywhere near that, it's a steal. Good luck to you. Let's find out what happened when it went under the hammer.
This lot was sold at a remote property auction with bids taking place online.
1, 2, 3, and gone, online.
And it was no surprise that the hammer fell at over 4 times the guide price, with the 2-bed semi going for $177,000. The successful bidders were local couple and second-time developers Paul and Lara. Dion met them back at the house to find out more.
Paul and Lara, nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
What was it about this place that caught your eye then, pal?
It was just within our budget to start off with, and then seeing the other properties that we were looking at, this one was probably nearest to travel to, in all honesty.
Okay.
And like I say, budget was the main criteria, and we got lucky on the day.
The house itself then, what are you going to do to it?
So, the living room, we need to sort this dodgy floor out.
Slightly bowed.
Slightly. Yeah, just like strip it out, freshly decorated, new radiators, new lights, possibly new fire, we haven't decided yet, and yeah, just make it look modern and fresh.
Are you knocking that wall through or leaving it as is? Because I'm thinking to myself, lovely kitchen diner, but you've got to think about the budgets and what you want from the house.
Purely because of the budget, I don't think we can, so we're going to keep it as it is.
Yeah.
Just put a brand new kitchen in.
Upstairs, what's happening upstairs? You got 2 beds, you got your bathroom.
Basically, we can fashion a space and put a brand new bathroom in and turn the old bathroom into a small child's bedroom or an office. So,
really?
That's the plan.
That's the plan.
Wow, if it all goes to plan, Paul and Lara will turn this into a 3-bed house, making it much more appealing to the family market they want to sell this house onto. They've given themselves a budget of between £15,000 and £18,000 and hope that with help from Lara's dad, Bryn, who's a qualified gas engineer, and friends Aidan and Tom, who work in the trade, they can complete this refurb in just 3 months.
What will you do, Paul? Will you oversee everything to make sure it's done how you want it done, or will you get involved? Or?
I'll be getting involved, getting my hands dirty to a certain extent. My limited amount of talent will lend me to stripping the walls, and that's about it.
Paul's very good at getting wood chip off ceilings. He's got a talent for that.
And what about you, Lara? What do you like to get involved with?
I'm good with a tub of filler. So
okay.
I fill holes and paint. Yeah.
What do you guys do away from developing properties then? What do you do, Lara?
Well, I'm a stay-at-home mum for my 2-year-old little boy.
Hardest job in the world?
Thank you.
And I'm a stay-at-home dad as well.
Nice.
Basically, we had a bit of a career change at the start of 2021. A few events took place in the family that sort of like made us reevaluate what priorities were. Obviously, having a 6-month-old running about the place, or crawling. It was, your priorities change with kids, especially one that's so precious to us, and being our first. It was like, I mean, because I'm a HGV driver by trade and have been for a very, very long time. And I didn't want to be away from my family anymore, so
we used to be out the house from 5 a.m. till 5 p.m.
Yeah.
So, and now we've completely changed things. We're both just working together, and we get to see our little boy every day, don't we?
Yeah.
What's your boy's name?
Remy.
Is Remy going to get involved, smashing things up as well, I would imagine?
He's the plasterer, so yeah. He works for cheap.
Remy's the plasterer, I love that. You only can plaster to here, though.
It's a very small job.
Listen, I wish you both all the best. It's your first venture into this world, so I hope it works out for you. Keep an eye on the budget, look after each other, look after Remy, and I think you'll be fine. Good luck.
Cheers, mate.
Thank you.
Paul and Lara are clearly learning on the job. It's a complete career change for them. They have got good friends and family around them that are going to be giving them a hand as well. The big question for me is, will that bathroom reconfiguration work? You can find out how they get on and if they squeeze another bedroom in later on the programme. We've seen the highs and lows of one of our buyers, but what about the remaining 2?
How many ups and downs have they faced? Let's find out.
We're back in Leeds, and this 2-bed back-to-back mid-terrace guided at £60,000. It was over 3 floors and had a basement included, all of which needed a fair bit of TLC.
You need a ceiling, you need a damp-proof course, you need to insulate the place, you need plaster. So bear that in mind. Watch your budget.
The first floor layout wasn't ideal either.
If this was your bedroom and you have the bathroom next door, great. But then again, if you're downstairs having a cup of tea and want to go and use the loo, you've got some steep stairs to contend with.
It was bought for £96,000 by IT consultant and part-time property developer Wally as his 4th development project. And despite the potential, he was reluctant to commit to converting the cellar space.
I'm not sure I'm going to do that because I think it's just a bit too expensive to do that. There's going to be a lot of work to be done, so I think I'm just going to keep it as it is for now. And then, yeah, so I'll leave the basement as it is and just renovate the kitchen.
He set himself a budget of £5,000 and a timescale of 6 weeks. Well, just 1 month later, we're back. The dull living room has been given a blue makeover with laminate flooring. The blue theme continues in the kitchen as the existing units have been spruced up and painted. Moving upstairs, the master bedroom has had a refresh and a lick of paint. And the bathroom is now glitzy with a new white suite. Upstairs into the loft. Wally has added 2 beds and brightened up the place. As predicted, Wally hasn't touched the cellar for now.
We thought about doing it, but we looked at how much it's going to cost to do it, you know, the kind of returns and investment as well. It wasn't really worth it. The cabinets in the kitchen were still in good order, we just thought, you know what, we'll just leave it as it is in there, kind of, you know, do it all, repainted it, plastered some of the walls, you know, change the flooring, put integrated units in there.
Wally's plan was to turn this into serviced accommodation, and that's exactly what he's done.
We've actually got quite a few bookings already. You know, most weekends already booked out for the next couple of months. So it's pretty interesting actually. As a normal rental, it's because you've got AST, a short tenancy agreement, you know, with your tenants, so they're in there for a long term. So in doing so, you've got to get a license to do that in some areas, which is, you know, this is one of it. But if you're doing it as a serviced accommodation, it's not rented out to anyone on an AST contract. So people just come in and go. And it's different household and stuff. So I've got to get, you know, license, I've got to get insurance and stuff like that, which is absolutely fine. You do that anyway. But I think that's the main difference.
Serviced accommodation is a type of furnished property which is available for a short or long-term stay. It comes with all the comforts required to feel at home, space to relax, amenities like phone and Wi-Fi, and includes utilities and local taxes in the fee. But who helped Wally with his renovation?
I kind of project managing it without actually doing much, really. Besides the front garden that I did, you know, besides that, everything else was done by the tradesmen, and the missus kind of picked the all fixtures and fittings in here, so.
With an original budget of £5,000, did Wally manage to stick to this?
Everything came in around about £6,000 all in, which is not too bad, you know, compared to if we had to do the cellar. So we stuck to that. I think budget, we did all right to get it all in.
Wally's done very well to go only slightly over budget for what is a very tidy-looking job. Time to hear now the thoughts of a local property expert. We've invited along one from the auction house that sold the property.
The property has been revamped. There's plenty of new, fresh paintwork around. There are still a few jobs to be done, a few splots of paint here and there. And also, I would have preferred the kitchen to have been replaced rather than painted over.
Wally has spent a total of £102,000 on the project, but has he added any value to his investment?
I would expect this property to achieve on the open market £105,000.
We've had it valued ourselves, and we know we can get up to about 115. And then with the recent houses around the area and what we've done here, it's certainly around about 115, so a bit low.
The expert's figure of £105,000 would give Wally a potential pre-tax profit of £3,000. But what could he expect on the rental market?
I would expect it to achieve between £700 and £750 per calendar month.
That's about right, yeah.
The income from serviced accommodation could be a bit more sporadic and irregular than a standard let. But Wally is confident he can achieve an average figure of £750 per month, which would give him an impressive 9% yield. So what are his plans now?
We're just moving on to the next one, really. And then after that, then we can get some time away, go on a family holiday, spend some time with the kids and stuff like that. But right now, it's just kind of getting more and getting out there.
Time now to return to Sheldon in Birmingham, where Dion visited a two-bed semi guided at £40,000 that had the potential to be a real winner.
It's got nice curb appeal. Is the inside the same? Let's have a look. Okay. So we've got a problem. As soon as you walk in the door, I'm guessing the bathroom's above here somewhere. Have a look at that as well. Look at this light. Some of the water's obviously found its way into here and left its mark. So yes, something to investigate above us here.
And although there was a lot to like and the rooms were good sizes, there were some other areas of concern.
My eye is drawn to the flooring here where it's kind of bowed a little bit. I'm guessing one of the joists has moved and it's kind of bouncy where that joist may have just dropped a little bit.
The successful bidders who got the lot for £177,000 were Lara and Paul. This was the beginning of a career change for the pair, and they hoped it would give them more quality family time, meaning even 2-year-old son Remy wasn't getting out of pitching in.
Remy going to get involved, smashing things up as well, I would imagine?
He's the plasterer, so yeah. He works for cheap.
Remy's the plasterer, I love that. You only can plaster to here, though.
It's a very small job.
Lara and Paul had set aside £15,000 to £18,000 and 3 months to get the work done. Well, we're back 4 months later, and the front of the house is looking as good as ever. And inside, the water damage is no more, as the whole house has been replastered and redecorated. The living room has lost the wavy floor, as it's been replaced from the joists up. A new kitchen has been installed, and the wall between it and the living room has been replaced to create a lighter and more open space all round. The sun lounge has had a little tidy. And upstairs has had a big reshuffle. What was the old bathroom is now a new 3rd bedroom, meaning that the other 2 bedrooms have been redecorated but have lost a bit of space, as they have both sacrificed a chunk to create the new bathroom. Small adjustments to make a much better use of this space. And we can now see the garden through the trees, as it's had a massive clear out, with the trees being cut back and the removal of the crumbling outhouses. In total, all of the work took Lara and Paul 3 months, which is pretty amazing. So who got it all done?
We used my dad for all the radiators. He's a gas safe engineer. Our friend Tom is a plumber. He did all the bathroom. And
we had Spock come in and do all the chipping, and that was fantastic because our original guy wasn't able to make it, unfortunately. So
Spock is a family friend and he's a very good carpenter, isn't he?
Very good.
The walls are also looking flawlessly plastered. Do we have Remy to thank for that?
His quote was a bit high, so we had to get someone else.
Ah, well, maybe in a couple of years. Did Lara and Paul get their hands dirty?
We've done as much as we can with our skills. We've decorated. I had to go at tiling in the kitchen and that worked out all right, so we saved a bit of money there.
Yeah.
And Paul discovered his dab hand in the garden.
They certainly nailed the timescale, but how did they get on with their budget?
Our budget originally was somewhere between 15 and 18,000, allowing for anything unforeseen. We had a contingency of about £6,000, which we have more or less spent, but the job is finished. So it's come out at roughly 23, 24 maybe.
Yeah, we're happy with that.
But will they be happy with our property expert's valuations? We've invited back the expert from our first visit to see what he thinks of the changes.
First impressions walking in here are quite remarkable. I mean, it looks like a completely different property to when we were here the first time. And I'm being really impressed how quickly they've actually turned the project round. They've very cleverly managed to create a third bedroom, albeit a nursery or box room. And they've moved a bathroom, taken a little bit off the 2 original bedrooms, but it really is still very good space and will add value to the property.
What rental values would he place on this property now?
Now the property does have 3 bedrooms, I would expect the rental values to be a little bit higher and would expect to achieve somewhere in the region of £1,000 to £1,200 per calendar month.
Wow.
That's interesting, isn't it?
Yeah. It's good to know. Yeah.
Yeah.
Those rental values could give them an annual yield of just over 7%. The couple's original plan was to sell the house on once complete, but have those rental figures swayed them at all?
It wouldn't change our mind at the moment, would it?
It wouldn't free up the revenue in order to be able to go and do another project. So what that would mean is you would have a great nest egg to fall back on, but it means I'd have to go and get a job.
Well, that's a pretty good argument for sticking to selling. But will our experts' sales figures line up with what they were expecting?
If I was to put this property on the market, I would expect it to achieve somewhere in the region of £250,000. But having seen the quality of the fittings and finishes here, possibly a little bit more.
We have had an estate agent in last week and he came back with 270. So if we can get anywhere like between that, then we'll be happy.
We'll be happy.
The couple's total spend here was £201,000. So between our agent's valuation and their own, they'd be set to make a pre-tax profit of between £49,000 and £69,000. Now all is said and done, do they feel they've made the right choice to change careers?
It was definitely the right decision to stop what we were both doing on a day-to-day basis, purely for family happiness more than anything else. We get to spend a hell of a lot more time together as a family than what we would.
I think it's just made us closer as a family, hasn't it?
Yeah.
Property auctions attract people from all walks of life.
Yes, we'll have plenty more stories to tell you here on Homes Under the Hammer next time. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.